Welcome to Septum Sen versus the World. I'm Septum Sen, and this is Kotobuki Jake, and we are here to bring another pickup video for you. So, not a lot, not as much going on this week. A lot of stragglers, at least as far as I'm concerned. Some of the sales keep going on. Kino has actually got a sale going on right now for their sets. They do some quality releases I've seen. Things like, of course I can't think of any right now. They re-released Birth of a Nation, but that's not on sale. Son of the Blob is on sale. Some of those types are on sale. They take a lot of older films, and they do a pretty good job of transferring. I have a couple of Kino releases. Usually if you get a Kino release, it's pretty quality. Right Stuff is still doing their sale right now, and of course Barnes & Noble is still doing their Criterion sale. But many of those are about to end come August. So, in any case, you go ahead and lead off.
Alright, my first pickup is really not, it's almost a follow-up of a previous one. But as luck would have it, a few days ago, I was at one of the local library branch, not my own branch, but a different one, and I had spoken before about the season of Dexter that featured John Lithgow. It was season 4 after all, but I now have season 4 to add to the collection, and once again, very, very inexpensive. So now, it would be nice to. I should be able to finish the collection much more easily than I realized. But so yeah, we definitely had the seasons mixed up. But I now have the one that's supposedly the classic. So since we went on that one quite a bit before, I'll go ahead and hand that off to you. We'll have a short one to start with.
Well, yeah, there's not much I have to add. Season 4 was actually quite good. John Lithgow played a very good character. Well, not good, but he played it very well.
A good bad character.
And the ending of it, I won't spoil it, but that is probably one of the more defining endings of the series. It really set the tone and moved it on to what it was in the later seasons, for better or for worse. So, yeah, definitely worth a check out. So first up for me is going to actually be a video game of all things. I had some money that I had coming to me, so I put some of it down on a pre-order for a Halloween game. But I also had some money left over, and I keep seeing this steelbook of, the King of the Fighters. It's the newest King of the Fighters. Has over 50 playable characters, 3-on-3. We'll probably try a little bit out of that later on, if you're interested in that. I know you like your fighters.
And I probably know a few of those characters.
Yeah, you should, because they've been on the Marvel vs. Capcom rosters, and of course they have their own games as well. I mean, I think this is the one with the Terry Bogard, and is it Bogart? Terry...
Bogard?
Something like that.
Something like that.
He's got the cap, and he makes waves with his fists. But this is actually a steel book. For a big game like this, it's actually not bad for $30. So, in any case, that's what I have to say about that one.
So how much more do you have to pay to get all the characters?
$5. And I got the other 4 that were released for it, and that's all the characters.
Okay.
So not bad, really.
Yeah, sounds fun. Let's see who all's in that.
Yep, there. It has quite a roster there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell from the picture who all of them are, but I'm sure
Well, you probably know some of them. I mean, I remember
quite a few.
I recognize quite a few of them from Marvel vs. SNK too. But I haven't really looked at any of these King of the Fighters type titles. Only the ones that are from the characters from Fatal Fury, really, that I've actually been recognized.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those are fighting. I don't do a lot of video gaming, but fighting games tend to be one of the bigger ones. Partly because you don't get sucked into a story that's going to eat up several days of your life, you know. It might eat up one day, depending on how hard the final boss is, but...
Well, I don't know. The new DC games have a longer story going.
Yeah. Those are fun, though. Yeah.
So,
Going to the next one, huh? Keeping the commentary short on this, huh?
well, I mean, I don't have much more to say about it.
Okay. All right, well, the next one is another library pickup. And this is a movie that I probably didn't save a lot because you can probably get this one cheap anywhere you go. But it's a fun series. I'm about 95% sure I have the first one and don't have the sequels. I've never yet seen the third one. But this is the second movie in the Night at the Museum series. Ben Stiller.
Yes.
Let's see.
Ooh,
There we go. Yeah, so of course Ben Stiller stars. Got Owen Wilson, Hank Azaria. This one, I think, introduced Amy Adams into the mix. And then Robin Williams. You know, you got a pretty fun cast there. And they're fun little movies. I haven't seen the third one, but the first two are not anything classic, but very much worth a watch every now and then. And, you know, $2 not a bad price to get this one into the collection. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the series.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the third one myself. I have it sitting in the collection. I just haven't gotten around to it. It's take it or leave it comedy. I mean, I enjoy having those Robin Williams credits because there's not going to be any more of them, so it's good to get them where you got them. And he was a fun character in that series. I can't remember a lot about the second one. I remember that the other guards at the Smithsonian were total idiots. That much I remembered. I mean, I think it was something with him moving the magic tablet to the Smithsonian and bringing the critters to life at the Smithsonian, and there were a couple of keeps that came along with. Again, any type of kidsy comedy movie where, you know, you animate stuffed animals and critters is, you know, is entertaining. It reminded me of the old, there was an old Nickelodeon show I used to really enjoy as a kid. It was called Today's Special, which was I know you didn't really get the Nickelodeon as a child, but it was about a storefront owner at a mall, and she designed mannequins, sort of like the movie Mannequin, where you had the fashion designer, and this mannequin had this magical hat that when you put the magical hat on the mannequin came to life. And then you had some various puppets mixed into it.
So he's Frosty the Mannequin.
Yeah, pretty much. But it was an okay show. I don't remember much about it other than that, and there was a mouse character and a really goofy security guard. It was basically the child's TV show of Mannequin, which, you know, wasn't a bad movie other than the second one. But,
well, one could say that about a lot of those movies. It was a good movie until they made another one.
yeah, the second one kind of threw it out.
We threw it out the window.
So this one is actually one I have a bit of a story behind. Me and my wife were sitting there. We were watching. We were going to try and watch it. She keeps saying, "Let's go watch Split." So we look at the prices, and it's like, I don't want to pay that to rent, and I don't want to pay it to buy it digitally because I don't like buying digital. My internet here is already kind of shaky, so do I really want to buy something that may or may not be there for me to watch later on and may buffer like halfway through? So I looked it up this time, and I found out that the price tag on this was about $12, which is Split. I believe that's the newest Shyamalan movie. And this movie actually cost me around, like I said, $12 on Amazon, and that's like $1 more than to buy it on Amazon digitally. And it's $6 or $7, depending on where you get it, to rent it. So am I going to rent it in HD and have it buffer all the time and not quite get the HD quality, or am I going to get it on a format that I can actually watch it in HD quality for around the same price. So, I mean, that's my thought on it. I mean, I've heard a lot about it. It's got a lot of suspense elements. A lot of this related to the to sort of multiple personality disorder. At least that's all the stuff I'm getting from the trailers. So I do look forward to seeing this. I liked the last one, The Visit, that he did. I thought that was actually quite unique. So Shyamalan is seeing a little bit of a return on his ability to do films, which is good because his last batch were not quite that good. Though I've heard that there is going to be a sequel to the Avatar live action. I don't know why.
A sequel versus a reboot?
I don't know whether it's a reboot or not. I'm hoping, but I've heard that he's involved in it again.
Yeah.
So, you know. But maybe he's entering a new renaissance for a new Shyamalance, or whatever they call it. So, have you seen Split yet?
No, and actually, you mentioned all the different options that are each one more expensive than the last of how one could see it. And I just put it on my wait list at the library. I should probably be getting it in about 3 weeks or so, which is fine. I mean, it's a Shyamalan movie. I'm not in a hurry to see it. But I am curious, because one, it's gotten pretty decent notices, and two, the idea, which fascinates me, of the dude that plays Xavier playing a character with multiple personality disorders, which if you know anything about your X-Men comics, you'll know why that's funny. Especially since I think that movie came out about the same time that they did a TV series for Legion. And I'm like, okay, now that's, the timing there is just great. So it's like, I am very curious, and I've heard good things. I do want to see Legion too. I've heard good things about that. But I didn't see The Visit, but I kind of wanted to. I'll get to it. You know, it's not top priority, but Split does look fun, and I'm looking for 2017 releases to see. I'm at a whopping 7 so far, and one of them is not that great.
Hey, it might get Oscar buzz. I don't know. I mean,
there is no way in hell. Oh, okay. We are in a world where Trump is president, so maybe Fist Fight will be an Oscar nominee. I don't know.
I mean, you never know. Shyamalan might be like best
now,
director.
Maybe that would get. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
Say that.
But yeah, I thought you were meaning like the one that I said was really bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we watched Fist Fight over the weekend, and it's entertaining, but they really should have edited that screenplay more. But, yeah, alright.
So, sure.
Got the next one? Okay.
That's one that Brittany was big into.
Well, next up we have, I actually did a couple of eBay purchases, which... yeah, I do that sporadically every once in a while. I've been trying really hard to sell for whatever reason. No one wants to buy the Melancholy Haruhi Suzumiya. I don't know why. So it's keeping me active on eBay. But I decided to do a couple small, like, cheap item purchases. And the first thing I have here is one that, if you ever do eBay and you do like 6 different auctions, you're going to win the one you care the least about. That is always the way. And I put, I think, 3 bids on items by one person. And I really wanted Whiplash. And there was something else. But what I did end up getting was a show that I saw a little bit of when it came out. Well, only the first season. Of a show I saw a little bit of when it came out. I never really got into it, but I enjoyed it, and I'll be happy to add it to my collection. But and I paid like $4, so you could do worse for a season of television. But I got season 1 of Chuck. The was it Zachary Levi? It's pretty fun.
And
pretty
there it
fun
goes.
Yeah.
It was a fun show.
Well, he's supposed to be like all martial artisty and everything, right? So like he's trying to do a jump kick there or something. I don't know. But yeah, so this was a show that, like I said, it was. I enjoyed a little bit. That's all. It's definitely quite popular when it was out. So, as a collector, it's definitely one that was on my radar. And like I said, I wouldn't mind having a season. I'm just a little bit disappointed that was the one out of the like 4 that I won. It was like I had a bid in on Outlaw Star that was actually going to be a good price, and Whiplash was going to be a good price, and I didn't get them.
They had a re-release of that too.
Yeah, well, I think that was on that Right Stuff thing.
Oh yeah,
they had that and My Hero Academia. I wish I won that. I didn't, but anyway, there you go.
Well, was Chuck the one that was right on before Heroes?
I think it was right after Heroes.
Or right after?
Yeah.
I think I never really got into it. I had a friend who was really into it. She was always raving about it, but she didn't like Heroes, so it kind of worked in the opposite end there. I think I saw maybe if you put all the snippets I've seen together, it would have probably gone together. They're like hour-long episodes.
I think so.
So probably I've seen about one episode worth of snippets. I think he works at like Best Buy or something like that. But I hear it's a decent show, and I don't have a lot to say other than I've heard it was decent. And I remember it because I remember it when I was watching Heroes, back when I watched Heroes. So. Now, the next couple I have here are actually going to be ones I've debated showing because I don't really care much for bootlegging. And I'm going to do a video about that later on, about what I consider worth having on a semi-bootleg type DVD, or whether they should exist at all. But there are a couple. There's a couple here that I actually did find quite good, and I can tell you the reasons for that. And the first one is this one here, which is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which is the entirety of the old Nickelodeon series, which is sort of Nickelodeon's take on the old Tales from the Crypt TV show. I've managed to preview it. It's actually very good quality. I'm not going to say how to get it, but one of these series is actually worth seeing. I've actually gotten a hold of part of this series that has been released, but like a lot of Nickelodeon shows, they started releasing them on DVD, and then they stopped. This has aggravated me a lot. I mean, they did that with Pete and Pete. They got 2 seasons out of the 3. I mean, 2 out of 3. And they didn't do the last season. They got like the first 5 or 6 of this, and then they stopped. It's actually kind of sad. They almost got there. So really, this is more for those last couple of seasons. If once Nickelodeon actually does put out all of them, I will be dropping this and disposing of it. I don't like to sell them. I don't like to get rid of them. But I am showing this because I feel like it is important. It is actually an important series to have, to get a hold of, and I'm hoping that eventually they will release the entire collection officially so that I can actually add it officially to my collection. So that's really what I have to say on that. So, your thoughts?
Oh yeah, it's so annoying when they start a show and then don't finish. And it's like you're talking about, I know like Disney, for example, I think one of the better shows that they ever had, The Gargoyles, they dropped it in the middle of a season.
But they did complete that one.
Did they?
Yep, they have completed that one.
I must have missed that part. Well, they did, like originally they did that. And then, of course, they're sitting on shows. Warner Brothers is sitting on shows.
Yep.
Nickelodeon's sitting on shows that'll never see the light of day.
Actually, did you see the news about The Simpsons?
What about it?
Apparently, the fans got really rowdy.
Yeah.
And the creator decided, okay, I don't believe in DVD or physical media, but I will continue. So they are going to start releasing it on DVD again.
Oh, okay. Good deal. Yeah, because that's a show that, well, actually got most of it from him.
Yep.
I think I'm only missing one season out of the ones that were released. But, But like some of the shows, like ones he was talking about, one show that I loved when I was a kid, and I want to get it. And I was stoked when Warner Brothers announced that they were going to start releasing it. And then they released 2 volumes, roughly 1/5 of the series, and stopped. And that was the 90s series Tasmania. I loved Tasmania. It was great. And I got the first volume, and I literally have half of what was available. And I haven't gone back to look to see if they've done some later releases, but it'd be nice if they would. Now, this one he mentioned I'm not familiar with. I, again, didn't do much Nickelodeon, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs a release, and I do understand. Like, I know he has a copy of an anime called Kamikaze Kaito-jan that we both enjoyed quite a bit, and it's probably never going to get an American release. And it's like, why not? It's a good show, but whatever. But yep, it's Mr. Larson. Sorry, Carpy. He was glaring at me, death stare there.
Well, it means that he's good with you on a first name basis.
Right. Oh. So, I guess are we ready for the next?
Yep, we're almost done. We got just 2 more titles to go.
Good times. Now, this was another eBay, and I didn't realize that we were doing other media, or I might have brought the other thing I got from this vendor. I got a CD that I'm real excited about. But this was, again, a really good deal. There's a couple of vendors on eBay who, if you were patient, you can go through their listings and find a lot of cheap stuff. And sometimes they'll put deals on. And this guy had a deal where if you bought 2 items, you get 10% off. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And I found a CD that I had to get. If anyone does bother to actually look at my... I'm sorry, that was probably the wrong way to word. But if anyone does get around to looking at my postings, my hub page articles, there's a few things you'll find out very quickly. And one of them is that I get very opinionated when it comes to music and the Oscars. And I also get very opinionated when it comes to my feeling that the Oscars are racist against Asians. But anyway, both of these things came to a head a couple years ago with the release of When Marnie Was There, which, if you haven't seen, is a wonderful film by Hiromasa Yonebayashi, a Studio Ghibli film, and is a wonderful film. And it features a English language song that is original to the soundtrack. It's not like an American edition. It was the actual theme song, and it's an original song by a Korean-American singer named Priscilla Ahn, and it's called Fine on the Outside. And I loved it, and I was like, this should have been Best Song. It wasn't even nominated, and the movie overall got gypped in a lot of categories. But anyway, that was one where it really got gypped, and I went on to great lengths about that. But anyway, we actually have one of her CDs in the library, and I checked it out about a month ago, and I loved it. And so when I got an opportunity to get the CD, it's called A Good Day. When I got the opportunity to get the CD super cheap, I had jumped on it. But I wanted a way to get 10% off, so I looked to see what else this person offered that was essential. Whoa, Carpy. And I found a listing, and maybe I misread it. I thought it was the entire series, but it is the entire first series, if you will, or first season, about one of the classic TV programs that's been on my radar for some time that I have not gotten around to getting yet. I got the first series of The Office, the original British version with Ricky Gervais. I know for a lot of people, the American one is far and away the better of the two. A lot of people think the British one is far and away the better of the two. I enjoyed both of them. I have not seen either one in its entirety, but I've seen a little bit of the British one and a lot of the American one. But the basic idea, you know, a documentary-ish series comedy about office drones and their horrible, horrible boss is kind of, I think, similar in both versions. And definitely this is an essential to the TV collection, especially since my British collection it's good, but it's small, and any chance I get to improve that, you know, by all means, I'd be happy to do it. So, have you actually seen this version, or?
I have the entire series upstairs in my storage. I have seen it, actually. I found it. What was weird is I haven't seen an episode of the American one at all.
Not one?
Not one.
Wow.
I've heard some interesting stuff. I've heard it's a little bit more lively than the British one, but, you know, the British humor is a lot drier than American humor. I had a hard time really getting into the series. I understand it. I understand where it was coming from, but I got a little bit depressed by it at the end. It was kind of, I guess it just got too dark for me towards the end of it. And by the end of season 2, I won't ruin that, but it just, well, they made it so that they really were going to stop it right there, and that probably was for the best. But still, you know, again, it's a popular show. I understand where some people really liked it, and there were parts of it that I did laugh at. So I can't really say I disliked it overall. I just thought it was subpar. But again, that's just me on that.
Well, again, not just you. I know a lot of people kind of hit or miss on them. You know, the styles of humor are definitely different. I mean, you know, they're yeah, the American one definitely has. It's still pretty dry for an American comedy. It's pretty dry, but it definitely has. I mean, Dwight's a pretty extreme character.
Right.
And there's some others too. And I still remember the first episode I ever saw. It was when I was working in a restaurant, and I was sitting at the bar after work, and it happened to be a Christmas episode where Steve Carell goes into the liquor store in desperation because everyone hates the office party, and he goes into the liquor store and buys an entire case of vodka, and it's like, is this enough to get 15 people hammered? The clerk just looks at him like,
no.
Yeah. It's like, And from what I hear, Gervais is probably not quite as incompetent so much as more of a jerk. But
yeah, it's more of a... He comes across as more of that boss that that wants to be buddy-buddy with everybody, and then he puts a little bit too much emphasis on the buddy-buddy, so he ends up screwing his own career over by doing that in a lot of ways.
That's
and
yeah.
there's a like I say, it gets really dark. I'm not going to try and spoil for anybody, but yeah, he's not very competent, I guess, in the end.
All right.
So, last one, again, we're talking about releases and things you can't really get. This you can, in theory, get, but it's really hard at any price, and George Lucas is trying his best to make sure that you can't get this. So, I've got these copies here of the original trilogy. And this, again, very nicely done. The person who did this got some of the transfer off of some of the old laser discs and some other properties. The picture quality is quite amazing. And yes, Han shoots first here. Now again, I try and support the original media. I have every single one of the episodes on Blu-ray Steelbook. So I just don't have this version. It's been made purposefully hard to get, and I want to make sure that I have it in that viewing ability. Now, my hope, I've heard, at least rumors, that they are planning a Blu-ray release of the originals, and again, that's that would then spell me saying, okay, well, this is going away, and that original trilogy set would then be mine. And you'll probably see it here. So, with luck, I've heard Disney is actually planning on doing that in the future, though I heard that plan like a year ago and still have seen nothing. So, I would love to see it before Lucas decided, I really think we need to change this around. Some things are better left alone. And I actually did watch a lot of this, and was reminded why I really liked the series as much as I did. And the movies, I think, still held up much better here than they did when I watched the re-releases. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but that does bring up an interesting debate, I guess you could say, with the movies. Star Wars is definitely kind of at the forefront of that right now. But the idea being, the idea being, for one, you get people like us that are just, crazy collectors, but also like real film students, and you get people who really, really study film, who really get into it, who really appreciate the history of film and everything. And from that standpoint, from the history standpoint, getting rid of movies it's a disservice, I think, to future filmmakers. It's a disservice to collectors. It's a disservice all around. And I realize in some cases people want, but on the other side of that, you get people that look at any sort of performance or filmmaking or whatever is almost like an organic thing, as something that changes. And Lucas, I think, has tried to use that argument on why he wants to keep changing the films. But on the other hand, that's a really dangerous game to play, because the people that love Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not quite the same as Stanley Kubrick spending most of his life trying to suppress his first film, which I have trouble remembering what it's called. And I've never seen
Spartacus?
it.
No, Spartacus.
No, he disowned Spartacus, but there was one, the first one he ever made, he actually tried to destroy. He actually tried to eliminate every copy in existence. And that's a little, but that's a more of a lesser known thing. Even Disney's decision to try to pretend Song of the South never existed is going to rile as many people as what the Star Wars thing. So I personally think that we really don't need to ruin the original trilogy by digitally inserting Hayden Christensen. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that was
that elevates a lot of things.
No offense to Mr. Christensen, but that did not add anything to the original trilogy. So yeah, I think it would be awesome if they do. And I really do need a really nice Star Wars set for my collection. So if they do that, that'd be an ideal opportunity to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that would be a nice. It would be a nice release. I enjoyed collecting it in the steelbook format, and so far I've got every Star Wars movie, including Clone Wars and Rogue One, in the steelbook format. It's just a cool collector's thing. But again, that one, mentioning Song of the South, I actually have that on a similar format to what you see here because of that refusal. It's just, people are going to try and get a hold of these materials even if you don't want them out there. It's just going to drive them to get a hold of it. It's like the old Mystery Science Theater thing, circulate the tapes. That was the whole thing there. So, I guess we're at the end of this one today. You can stay tuned for a later on video that will cover some new ground. We're going to try and do the co-hosting for another segment, probably briefer than these segments. Of course, these segments might get briefer as I explained in my last portion of the pickup video, which was that I'm going on a DVD hiatus of sorts. I mean, there have been some pre-orders done still, but most of it's very limited in nature. So it'll be a lot less in the next coming months. Probably within the next 2 to 3 months, you'll see a start to decline, sort of like how we have it here. So, in any case, try and subscribe, like, share, and we will see you all on the next episode.
All right.